Yeah, I got you that.
Gannon.
I'm getting really frustrated with this caterpillar. I just cannot kill it. Can you give me a hand?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
No worries, well. Give me here.
Welcome to RetroRetracked. In honor of Hyrule Warriors being released, we are going to count down the top 10 most memorable boss fights from the Zelda series.
That's right. It's been a pretty great game so far.
It's amazing, mind-blowing.
Alright, so let's start this list off. Valhalla, Winwaker. Alright, so this guy is just basically like a giant skull that's filled with the combined spirits of like all these Poes. All you really got to do is shine some light on with the mirror shield and, you know, throw them against the wall and they'll run around and you'll kill them. But it's fantastic. It's a fun, challenging fight and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I found this the most fun boss of Winwaker, in my opinion.
Stood out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Goats, Majora's Mask. Ever wanted to play a boss that felt kind of reminiscent to Sonic the Hedgehog? Well, here you go. Goat, the giant masked mechanical bull-looking monster, is the source of the curse that befell Snowhead. Defeat him to bring the land into spring and save the Gorons.
Vaati from Four Swords Adventure. This fight is really challenging, especially when you have 3 other friends running around like madmen and just bring the group to come and to point out the canon locations. Then I'm sure you will enjoy bringing down Vaati.
It's actually a pretty fun fight. You just gotta get that composure. Goma. Alright, Goma has had many forms. He's a reoccurring boss throughout the Zelda series, and the appearance has sometimes altered. My personal favourite would be the one in Wind Waker, as I love swinging across like Indiana Jones and then bringing him down like with the sword and slicing him up. It's a fun fight. It's a good one of the first bosses.
Yeah, I would say Goma is a very unique character being like in other Zelda series, but personally mine would have to be Queen Goma from Ocarina of Time. Personally, from memories, I would, when I was still a child, I just remember getting creeped out and yeah, I was like, what's this scary atmosphere happening? And then you're just looking around in Zoom and you're just like, oh my god, what is that?
I love how it doesn't start until you look at it, because you can run around for a little bit. And yeah, it was like suspense when you were young, but you go back to it now and you're just like, why wouldn't it load?
Yeah, it actually made me face my fears throughout the game, so then...
Giant eyes.
Yeah. What could be described as a combination of Morpha and Mulgarath? Mulgarath. Morphle is seriously a boss where it starts off a similar way of yanking Morphe's heart, but instead of this time, you are yanking Morphle's eye out of his tentacles. Thinking it was all over, he has stage 2. And what I remember about this stage was how you would feel the rhythm, like the movements of how to defeat him, like move the bit, swim,
you got to start swimming around and
stab the guy in the head and repeat. What I love about this boss is that it was the first time I experienced facing a boss whilst underwater, and I found it enjoyable. It was the first time, and I just found it challenging.
Blind. It was his specific appearance in A Link to the Past that I really loved the most, and it was such a challenge because, well, eventually there's 3 heads flying around shooting laser beams at you, you're still trying to shoot the body. What a hard challenge for a top-down, old-school Zelda game. Well, they managed to return with that in A Link Between Worlds. I mean, this game's full of nostalgia. They even bring back an homage to an old boss, really. Basically, it was a perfect follow-up. It had the nostalgia and the difficulty increase level. I mean, once you learnt the mechanic, it wasn't too hard. It was that extra bit that just said, good work. Well done for sticking that in.
Twinrova, Ocarina of Time. I was ready to face Twinrova when I was younger, but through the control of my parents, basically I could never finish the Spirit Temple until I was older and when I finished school. And it was something I was really eager to complete.
Yeah.
The suspense was killing me, and so I borrowed a Nintendo 64 and Ocarina of Time and played through it a few years ago. Wow. Twinrova. Using the mirror shield to deflect and then absorb the the polar opposite attack between the twins. This was a great idea from the designers. It came off as a real challenge, as you needed to keep your eyes fixated on both to avoid losing your footing and falling off the level. Once they combined, there was a lot of less running around, and Twinrova fell to my blade.
Alright, so we're getting down to the end of this now. Number 3, we got Ganon from A Link to the Past. Ganon uses the darkness as his aid in this battle. Light the lamps and keep the room well lit. Then fire that light arrow right into his face and swipe away with the Master Sword. All whilst dodging flaming bats. And there's a lot of them, like they appear in a circle and they fly out everywhere. It's hard. You got so many obstacles to avoid. Whilst Ganon had appeared in the first game as well, I feel it was here in the Golden Pyramid that he became the Master of Darkness, and the ideas for future encounters with him were actually born.
This one I was really surprised about. This game overall surprised me. Its demise from Skyward Sword. I remember feeling that it was all up to me to end this darkness. Like, fighting him was really fun, and what was really epic was like I said, the atmosphere from the heavenly light in the cutscene to end the world of darkness the next. The first phase was a lot of side jump dodge and rising, and then like the second stage was more rising the Master Sword skyward, and I just remember that was the epic moment, because as soon as you struck him down the third time, that was your chance to give the final blow, and then boom, this amazing cutscene is like a legend has been born.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh.
It made you feel heroic.
Alright, guys. Simulate that drum roll. Dark Beast Ganon from Twilight Princess.
Badass.
Seriously, when it comes to being memorable, this fight has easily topped ones that I always thought would be my most memorable fights. Like, I've always enjoyed the fights of Ganon. They've always been epic. You'll notice I don't put Winwaker in the list, even though I love that fight. It's not very challenging, but it's still really epic and really fun.
Yeah.
But this one, as far as memorable goes, yeah.
The first phase is Phantom Zelda.
That's right. So you fight Phantom Zelda, and then you go into the Dark Beast Ganon, and you're the wolf, and you got to do like, you know,
you've got to attack. And like, this was a very unique side of Ganon we've seen up to date, as we got to fight Ganon as a wolf. Beast form versus wolf form had that animal instinct, and it was challenging fight. And like, when he would disappear and re-emerge on the other side of the room, it was just epic that we could fight him in a different form. Yeah,
and like it was the controllers you would learn the whole game. When you're a wolf and you jump onto something, you got to keep swinging. You got to like, yeah, exactly. And then, you know, once that's done, sure, it goes to horseback, and then you just fight him. But it's the whole thing. You think, I just went through the hard part. I've worn him down. This guy has to die. Well, I mean, he gets, you know, we all know what happens after that. There's all the Twilight Realm stuff. But, so that's our 10. But we've got an honourable mention each. All right. So I'm going to put down Moldorm from A Link to the Past, which is that, you know, the caterpillar thing, and it goes around and pushes you off the level. They've brought this thing back in other games, and it's been like a fantastic return, but it's this version for me that stands out the most, because I've had to fight that boss, I don't know, like 1,000 times. I mean, I myself don't have any difficulty with it. It's a boss I've learnt to really get down packed, but enough family members have asked me to quickly rush that boss for them that I think each time each of them asked me, that's probably like a few plays, you know?
Yeah.
But I'd like to think, with the return of Moldorm, an interesting version was the puppet Ganon, because that was pretty hard, having to shoot the back with a light arrow. And honestly, I don't think the arrow controls for the Wii U were perfect, so in the HD version, I found myself having a little bit more trouble with it anyway.
Alright, so mine is pretty recent, until the new Zelda U comes out. It is Girahim from Skyward Swords. it's taken me ages to figure out his name and the pronunciation.
Oh, we're just going off what Hyrule Warriors told us.
Yeah, Guham, Gariam.
We were saying Gariam.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that American voice came on and said Girahim, and we're like, well,
whatever.
accept it, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Despite his slithering, disturbing personality, he was a tough boss. He had 3 different phases when you face him, and they were very difficult. But I got through it, like, first go. And I always feel when I was in the game, I was filled with determination, and the motion controls did warm me out by the end of it. Phase 3 was overall my favourite, as pushing him off the edge is what made it fun. It was the end of his annoyance, and I kicked his ass.
Alright guys, thanks for watching our top 10 boss countdown there. Did you disagree or agree with us? Tell us in the comments.
Be sure to hit that like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next Retro Retract.
See you around. I can cut it now anyway, but I just feel like playing.
Yay! Thank you.
I always smash that boss. It's good. I only have to take this camera to work to get the footage off of it. I don't have to take a USB and all that stuff.